today's video, we are going to be doing a Pride vlog. We are going to be reading books that have LGBTQ plus A representation. And, well, I don't know if it has all of those, but it has at least one of those. And then we have 3 books. I have been wanting to get to these 3 books for a very, very long time. And now it's finally my time. The first is Yerba Buena by Nina LaCour. Whoa. I've been wanting to read this book since this book came out. People have already talked about this book. People have already said they like it, dislike it, and I want to finally have an opinion on it. So we're going to be reading this book. It has a price tag sticker on it. How do we feel about taking out the price tag stickers on our books? The thing is, you should, because, it'll look better. But I just think it is so hard to take stickers off of books, and I do not be bothered. I need to go through my book collection, and I need to go take off the stickers on all of my books because it's getting ridiculous. The next thing we have is Boy Parts. Boy Parts by Eliza Clark. I have Pennants by Eliza Clark upstairs, another book by her, and I have not read it because I want to read Boy Parts. Boy Parts is one of those books I have no clue where I got Boy Parts from. It was just like one day it appeared. And I have a lot of books, I would say, like Boy Parts that sit on my bookshelf and I never get to them. But now it's finally my time. I have wanted to read this. I think this came out in 2020. A lot of people like this book. I saw this book in a lot of people's year-end list when it was all said and done. And I want to read it finally. And the last book we have is actually a memoir. And it is All Boys Aren't Blue, a memoir by George M. Johnson. This book got banned in one of the states. This book got banned, and so I was thinking about doing a video on banned books to raise awareness for banned books, but then that never came because I guess I got busy. And so I've had this book for a really, really long time, and I've been wanting to read it, and now it's finally my time. And that's the 4 books. We are only going to read 4 books. This won't be a full week. We do have a lot of stuff to get done. Today, I have to go to Sephora. I got to get some conditioner on my hair. I want to see if there's any bargain thrillers that are out there. There's stuff that I have to do, but this won't be a full week, because these books aren't very long. This book is actually, the words on the pages are pretty big. This is a day of reading. Boy Parts is maybe a day and a half of reading, 2 days. And then Yerba Buena is also big words on page. So I just don't think it'll take that long. But anyways, those are the books. We're going to start with Yerba Buena. I have no clue what this book is about. I have no clue what Boy Parts is about. And this is a memoir, so we'll see what goes on in there. And yeah, I'm drinking my coffee that y'all saw me make. It's been about an hour since those clips, so those croissants is already being gone. They been gone. Anyways, that's that on that. I could jump to the next clip, but I'm not. I have some books in the mail. I got some book mail. I was gone for a while and came back to 2 books. How exciting. So the first book I got was Within Arm's Reach by Anne Napolitano. Don't remember why I picked this book up, but this is the debut of, do y'all remember the book Hello Beautiful? This book? Yeah, do y'all remember that? This is their debut. So this came before Hello Beautiful, right? I don't know. Did I make that up? Maybe. Because they also have another book called Dear Edward. Could have made this up. It says this spellbinding debut by best-selling author Anne Napolitano is poignant. So I guess, yeah, this would be a debut. Anyways, moving on. Hamnet. Now, I purchased this book, and I thought I purchased this book new, but the gag is I'm kind of mad, and I might say something. This is a $5 sticker on it, but I think I paid more than $5 for this book. So somebody scammed me, and I'm kind of mad because I thought this was new. This is clearly not a new book. It's sun damaged, really bad. And the thing is, I don't mind. I am not someone who needs books to be in pristine condition. I really don't care. I'm not that type of person. But it's messed up on the sides. I'm a little upset because I liked The Marriage Portrait so much by this author. I feel like I'm gonna like this book as well. And my cover raggedy. Anyways, what can you do? Well, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go send a nicely worded email. Anyways, I will talk to you guys a little bit later. We're gonna read Nina LaCour. And yeah, peace.
Hello
Well, you guys, I am about to go into the bookstore to see if there's any bargain books that I want to get my hands on. I have some library books back there that have due dates on them that need to go back. And then I need to go to Sephora to get some conditioner to wash my hair tomorrow. I just got a lot to do, and I actually need to go by the store as well to get some more stuff to make coffee in the morning. I just have a lot going on. Going out of town and coming back is just always too damn much. But I have 3 nails missing. This is absolutely insane. I need to just take all of these nails off of me. But anyways, I'm about to go in, and yeah, I'll show you guys if I see something in there I deeply find interesting. I have a feeling I'm going to come out of here with nothing, but we'll see. Who knows? Who knows? What can you do? But yeah, peace. We have a lot of stuff to get done. I got from Sephora really quickly because it's all the same stuff. I ended up spending too much damn money, $214 just on stuff for my hair, just re-upping on hair care stuff. Nothing's nice. So I'm washing my hair today and I use Olaplex. I needed to re-up on all my Olaplex. I have not purchased Olaplex in a really long time. I have a lot of hair. So I run through conditioner like it's water. So I bought 2 conditioners, which will probably last me about 2.5 months. I use about, yeah, I can go through about I go through about one of these every 3.5 washes. So that can last me for about 2.5 months. And then I decided I'm going to still keep doing the treatment that I do with Olaplex. So I put this in my hair first, and then I finish with the number 5. I go back and forth on if I should be doing this. Like, I heard people say you really don't need to do this unless your hair is like damaged, and like I don't have any damage on my hair. I literally just cut my hair off again at the beginning of the year. I have a bad habit of doing that. Any slight damage to my hair, I'm like, good. So like I don't really need to do that. And then I purchased a new shampoo because I'm not sure if I need it, but what if I do and I get in the shower to wash my hair and don't got no shampoo? Did all of this for that. And then I purchased 2 of these. I don't need to purchase 2 of the number 3. What's it called? The number 3, because I actually have some of this. So I just got it to get. Anyways, that's what I got from, so nothing fun from Sephora. No makeup, no nothing. I actually need to go through my makeup collection and clear it out. I need to go through my hair care collection and my makeup collection and clear it out because I want both of those things to stop being collections. I just want them to be stuff that I use and not just a collection of stuff. Like my books are a collection, right? Makeup, hair don't need to be a collection, need to be stuff that I use frequently. Anyways, speaking of books and collecting, you will see in the clips I showed you of me looking for books, I feel like I got 2 finds. Number 1, the best find, The Christmas Guest. I was going to buy this book off of Pango, but I didn't like any of the prices for it once I paid for shipping. And I was just like, you know what? I'll just get my hands on it some other way. And the fact that they had this is a short story by Peter Swanson. And I've been wanting to get more into Peter Swanson stuff. I read 2 Peter Swanson books, Every Value Break and 8 Perfect Murders. Loved 8 Perfect Murders, one of my favorite mystery thrillers ever. Hated Every Value Break, but this came out last year, I believe, or the year before. And I wanted to read it, and they had it. Like, that just felt like such a win for me. And then they had Nona the Ninth. So any question of whether or not I am going to finish the Gideon series, the Lock Tomb series, is no question now because I got my hands on Nona. So actually the only book that I don't own in this series is Harrow, which I do need to own because before I read Nona, I'm going to go back and reread Gideon, and I'm going to read Harrow. That might be a whole vlog in and of itself. But yeah, before I even think about getting into this, girl, I will be rereading that. So anyways, I am going to go work out. Then I have some work to do. So I'm going to work out, do my work, eat my breakfast. Then I'm going to start on my hair. But first things first, before I even work out, I got to take these nails off. I have to take these nails off. It's a mess. But anyways, hello, you guys. I am here to give first and final thoughts on Yerba Buena by Nina LaCour. The reason why you're getting first and final thoughts is because I never found there to be any reason for me to come and update you guys. I'm going to tell you what this book is about, and then I'm going to tell you my thoughts. So in this book, we start off with a main character named Sarah. She is a teen, and she is having this like lesbian fling with this girl named Annie. One day, this girl named Annie goes missing, and it's like assumed that she drowned. And so Sarah goes to her dad, and it's just like, I think Annie is dead, Annie is missing, and the dad really does not care at all. So this makes Sarah be like, I gotta go, like my girlfriend is dead, I gotta go west. So she takes one of her friends in this community, in this town, and they go to California. But before they do, they have to do some strange things for some change, and they get there. Well, we meet back up with Sarah a few years later, and Sarah is a bartender. You know, she's trying to make a way for herself and all of that. So she's trying to get her life together. But then there's this character named Emily who comes into the fold. Emily lives in California, and we're also following Emily in two timelines. We're following Emily when Emily is working with flowers. She's a florist at this restaurant called Yerba Buena, and she is having an affair with the guy who owns the restaurant. But then we also meet her in the future, and she's dealing with her sister and being an addict, her grandmother dying, and stuff like that. And she's trying to find her footing in life as well. And our two characters come together and meet each other, and they hit it off. And this is really a story about both of them overcoming their past and getting to know one another. I don't know what this book was trying to be, but I don't think it's good at doing any of it. This book is not a good romance, if it wants to be that. This book is not good like literary fiction. It's not good contemporary. It's not, I don't know exactly what this book wants to be. And as I was reading the book, I kept trying to get my footing, and I couldn't. Another issue I have with this book, I don't think this book is written really well. This book is confusing for no reason. It's not even that long, and it's only two timelines. Like, you have two characters. Both of them have a past timeline and a present timeline, and they intersect with one another in the present timeline. That is, I've read that many times this year. This will not be the first book that has done that. But this just is really hard to read. It's choppy at times. At times it's hard to see what's the future timeline, what's the present timeline, what's the past timeline. It's also sometimes hard to know what is Sarah's POV and what is Emily's POV. And I just think it's because the writing is choppy. Another thing that is really bizarre about this book is that this book has nothing to say. Like, the book is already short, but like the writing in this book, like, it like thinks it's saying something really like interesting, like the writing, like you get presented with a sentence, and it's like this. I think this sentence thinks it's supposed to be blowing your mind. You're supposed to get some deep introspection on life, but instead it's just the most basic, simple sentence you've ever seen. And just like, what is this here for? This book is really flowery. You guys know I am very hit or miss on flowery books, and this book is flowery, but like with no substance. It's so funny that the blurb, this is blurb by Charlotte McConney, who wrote Once There Were Wolves and Migrations, because I read Once There Were Wolves and I liked Once There Were Wolves. But this book is like Once They Were Wolves, but like bad. If Once They Were Wolves had nothing interesting to say, that would be this book. This book reads like a Colleen Hoover book without any of the Colleen Hoover excitement, which, yeah, that sounds crazy to say, but at least a Colleen Hoover book is always going to give you the mess you showed up for. So, yeah, you can get past the bad prose, if you can get past the bad plot, if you can get past plausibility, you at least going to be there for some mess. This book is a Colleen Hoover book without the mess. So it's just like, what even is this? The thing that offends me the most about this book is the Emily character. The Emily character's worst thing is that, like, what? She has a fling with a guy. She has a fling. She sleeps with a married man. I didn't understand the Emily character. It's like they tried to add like weight to Emily as a character that is simply wasn't there. So when these two characters come together, you're supposed to be like, these two women have been through so much and they're gonna be, each other's support systems. But I'm just like, what? Emily's life has been pretty fine. Like, Emily ain't all that bad. Like, it just didn't seem like these two people were given the same amount of care. We get a lot of information about Sarah, but we don't get a lot of information about Emily. Another thing, this book has a weird, like, mystery aspect to it. I put mystery because I don't know if the author actually was trying to do that, so I don't want to say the author was trying to do something that they weren't actually trying to do, but it's there, and it's just like, so like, I just feel like the last third of this book turns into this weird, a little sleuthy, but at the same time it's trying to still have the web of the romance we was already in. I don't know. I think this is a mess. I think this book is a mess, but I am sitting in that alone because this book is sitting at 3.87 on Goodreads. So clearly I missed something, but I told you it reads Colleen Hooverish, and Colleen Hoover books be sitting at 4.0s on Goodreads. So like, I do think there is an audience for this. It's simply not me. I didn't get this one. I'm going to give this 2 out of 5 stars. My hair looks a mess, but that's just because I'm like, so I did a wash and go. I still need to dry it some more, to be honest with you, like up here. But I'm just banding it. Whatever, you don't care. You'll see tomorrow how it comes out. But yeah, we are going to move on to boy parts and hope things just get a little bit better, because I don't know what just happened in that book, but absolutely the hell not. Hello, you guys. First of all, can we discuss how good my hair came out? This is first day hair. So yes, it is flat, but like, it's just gonna get bigger. I don't pick my hair out, by the way, when I do wash and goes. If you care, the 2 people who care about my wash and goes, I don't pick it out. I just let it get big throughout the week. Anyways, the reason why we are over here and you see makeup brushes in the back is because I am going to clean off my vanity. I have this vanity. I love this vanity. This is one of the like best. I got this for my birthday. My partner bought this for me in like 2019, like this entire like this impressions vanity. I guess I can show you the damn thing. But like, yeah, this is my vanity, and I am about to clean it out because I have a terrible habit of never cleaning this out and never getting rid of stuff that I should get rid of. I'm pretty easy with throwing away other stuff, like stuff that I don't need around my house, or unhauling books and stuff. Like, I'm not a person who gets really attached to objects, but when it comes to like makeup, skincare, and all types of stuff, hair care, I will hold on to some stuff. So we are about to just go through and get rid of all of this stuff. So yeah, you guys can come with me on this journey. I'm just gonna like do like a little like, you know, montage and go through, and I guess you guys can see some of the makeup I own and see me get rid of some of this stuff, but the stuff does need to get rid of. Okay, I'm gonna start and I'll talk to you guys later. Guys, I have a problem. Look at these. So these are like some LA Girl blushes. All of these are pretty much exact. I only use the pink color at the end. So ignore all of this. All of this, ignore. I only use these two colors. They're literally almost the same, and I should get rid of them, but I can't because they're not the same. They're not, ignore those. They're not the same. I need them, but keep holding on to this entire palette when I only use two damn colors is crazy. Then I have this other LA Girl palette, which has this shade, and like the top one and the bottom one are just slightly different. And then you can compare it to this. Like it's slightly different, but I need them. I can't get rid of them. I love them so much. I can't get rid of them. Sorry, I just had to interject and say that. I can't get rid of them. This is the only palette that I use, the Artist Couture Supreme Nudes. Everything else in here is like, just like stuff. Like, I can't get rid of the Jaclyn Hill palette. I just simply can't. I truly believe, and this is going to be maybe an unpopular opinion, no one has ever made a better makeup palette than the original Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette. I don't know, once it got reformulated, it went to hell. But if you got your hands on like that second batch of the, I think it was the second batch, because there was mine Mine doesn't have a mirror. And did the original one have a mirror? I don't know. If you got your hands on the Jaclyn Hill palette when it first came out, you can attest that there has never been a better palette than the Jaclyn Hill palette, original, at the price point that it was at. There's nothing better. Like, literally, like, the shades are so buttery. I do not care how old it is. I will always use that palette if I need to. I'm never getting rid of it. It's going to be 20 years, and I'm going to still be putting it on my eye, getting a fucking sty. But it's so good. But I really never use it. This is really the only palette that I really use. So I'm going to actually move it up here just so it's closer, even though it shouldn't be down here. Anyways, I just don't feel a need to buy eyeshadow these days because I don't wear it. I went through a huge beauty blender era. I don't even use beauty blenders anymore, but I went through a huge beauty blender era that anytime Sephora was having a sale, I would buy one. I've thrown some out, and I still end up coming back and using them, like having more. But I'm just going to put them in this Fenty Beauty case and act like I don't see them. I think I'm going to get rid of all of these puffs. They never worked for me, so I think I can get rid of them. I have some Christmas earrings in here for some reason. I have my shears that shouldn't be in here. And I think that is that. Hello, you guys. We are on our second book. We are moving through this vlog, but I want to come and discuss Boy Parts with you by Eliza Clark. I do not know what I thought this book was going to be about. It's just like Yerba Buena, where like I think I know what these books are about, and then I get to reading them and I'm just like, I had no clue what this book is about. So in this book, we are in the present day in Newcastle, and we are meeting this girl named Irina. This girl named Irina works at a bar. And one day, this mother comes into the bar and it's just aggressively like coming at her. Like, you did something to my son. He's underage. He lied about his age. You have an issue. And Irina's sitting there like, I don't know what you want me to do. He showed me his passport. It looked real. So like, what do you want me to do? She gets slapped by the mom. And this kind of starts our character going on this journey and kind of explaining her life to us. So Irina is a young white woman. She has a roommate, and her job, what she does for money, it seems, she takes pictures of random men around the city she's at. She just asks, can she take pictures of them? They are sexually explicit pictures, sometimes even leaning a little like gross and horrific. And she sells them to gay men. She sells them to gay men who want to like do things with the pictures. On the other side, there's like an artistic side as well. She puts her artistic visions into the photos. She's always done stuff like this. Even when she was younger, she used to draw like pictures of boys and stuff. So this has always been a part of her life. And throughout this, we are just following the different men that she meets. Some she sleeps with, some she just knows. We are getting to know her roommates. We're getting to know what she gets up to. We're also going in the past sometimes. Well, we're not going in the past. We're hearing her say things about her past. We learn that she had an inappropriate relationship with an older man. And yeah, we're just getting to know like how Irina came to be Irina. So this is a pride vlog, and what does this have to do with LGBT plus representation? And there's a few things. The obvious thing is that Irina is bisexual. She had a little something going on with this roommate, and I find the roommate part of this to be so funny because Irina hates her roommate, but her roommate has a blog, and her roommate talks about her in the blog, and Irina has found the blog and like reads it, but she doesn't confront the roommate about the roommate talking shit about her on the blog. And then Irina claims to hate her roommate so much, but we find out that they had a little lesbian fling at one point. There's clearly something more going on with them than like what Irina is indulging to us. The way this book is written, the narrative voice of this, Irina is like telling us about her life. And Irina is trying to seem cooler than what she actually is. Like, Irina is constantly talking down about the people around her, but it's very clear that she actually likes these people around her, and it's almost like she's trying to get them before they get her. And so like she's constantly trying to be like, yeah, but they're weird. Yeah, I went out with these people, but they're awful, and they're this, and they're, you know, fake woke, and they're this, all of this type of stuff. But it's just Irina like putting on false airs. Like she just is insecure in herself, so she is projecting that onto other people. And that brings me to the other thing about this that is queer coded. The fact of Irina being uncomfortable with herself. There is something there to Irina, her gender, and how she takes pictures of these men. Irina tells a story about how when she was younger, she used to dress more androgynous. She used to be more like boyish. And then one day she just changed everything about herself and presented more girly. And that is when she started to get the attention of men. And so going into the future, where she takes photos of these men and she finds the male body so interesting. There's something there. There's something queer coded there. There's something trans coded there that I think would be interesting to dissect, especially if you are a trans person. I would be interested to hear if there's some relatability to that existence, or if you're someone who questions your gender identity. I think there will be something interesting to say there. And of course, throughout the book, we run into a bunch of other like trans characters, lesbian characters, gay characters. There's just, there's just a whole smorgasbord, I think, of either queer coding or just queer characters throughout this story. Here is the thing. You guys know I did not enjoy the book Nothing Special. I did not enjoy the book Dykets. I did not enjoy the book My Year of Rest and Relaxation. And all of these books have the same thing in common, and I always tell you what it is. It's bell jar core. It's bell jar core. It's Fleabag core, where you just have a woman who is spiraling, trying to grasp onto something. She's doing strange things, but she thinks she's too smart to even be in the situation that she's in, so she doesn't even really fully realize that she's spiraling out of control. And even when she does, she thinks she's in control of that spiraling. That's what this book is. So you would think I wouldn't like it. And many times I don't. At many times reading this book, I don't enjoy this book. But that doesn't change that I find it quite fascinating at times. So right now we are at fascinating. I'm fascinated. I still have more than halfway to read, so I'm going to keep on reading, but keep your ears open. I'm going to keep reading. I'm still have an open mind, but I don't know. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace. Guys, I'm about to do my skincare routine very, very quickly, but before I do, while I do, I want to give you guys my final thoughts on Boy Parts by Eliza Clark, because I did finish it today, and I think Boy Parts is My Year of Rest and Relaxation, Bunny, and Nothing Special if those books were even mildly interesting. If those books were interesting, they'd be this book. Boy Parts is the better version of all of those books, in my opinion. What do I call those books? Woman aimlessly running through life, trying to fix her life with things that aren't going to fix her life. She has trauma that she needs to heal from. And, she's doing strange things to overcome it. These books with these main characters where you're not really sure if what they are experiencing is the truth. This unreliable narrator, this, a woman inside of her own head struggling. That's what these types of books are. I just think Boy Parts had more interesting things to say. And that could be me reading too much into this book, because I have convinced myself that this book is like a whole allegory on trans identity. Yes, I have. And I do not have the authority to say that's what this book is. Number one, I didn't write the book, never spoken to Eliza Clark, and I'm not trans. But I think that this book, there's a part of the book where the main character chops up this boy's body. And it just, to me, read so transcoded to me. And I don't know. I just really the more I read the book in this queer coding, in this trans coding, the more I found all of the signs. But on the surface level, this book, I think, is just about a book about overcoming trauma and the things we do to get over that trauma and the lies we tell ourselves and the lives we choose to live and wanting to take control over your own narrative. That's the big part about this book, trying to own your own narrative. And I think, what am I going to rate this book? 3.75? It's an interesting book to read. I would definitely recommend you read this book. Number one, this book is a backdoor horror story. That's another thing. This book presents as just a normal book, I think, but it's a backdoor horror, especially towards the end. And two, it just has, like I said, I've read the whole book in this idea that it's about this trans identity and this idea of feeling trapped in your own body. But that could also not be what it's about, and you could take something else totally different from the story. And I think that's worth that's worth reading, you don't always have to see a book the way that it's intended to be seen. If you read this book and you take certain things from it, that's important. I've read some reviews on it and other people take other things from it. Who knows? But I do think it's worth reading. I think it's an interesting book. My critiques of the book is that I think it becomes repetitive. I think after a while you kind of get the point. You kind of get the point of what is going on, and it starts going in a circle, I feel for the sake of page count. And also because the main character has such a strong narrative voice and Eliza Clark writes the character with such a distinct style, all of the side characters feel a little bit not fleshed out. They just feel like they're here, just to be a part of a story because the story needs side characters, but they don't actually feel like real people. And that could be intentional because our main character is a narcissist and our main character uses people. So that could be an intentional thing. But I just think in writing the story that way, it's hard to care about anybody in the story besides the main character. And then after a while, I do think you even have a hard time caring about the main character. This book you struggle with stakes in this book. I feel like you read this book, you get the story, but I don't think you read this story and deeply care about anything going on in the story. Feeling oh my gosh, what's going to happen to these characters that I love? You don't feel that way. The only character in the story that I do think you kind of start to feel a little bit something for, at least for me, is her roommate. Her roommate has a monologue in here that's actually really, really good. And I thought that was done really, really well. But anyway, so 3.75 on Boy Parts. I'm happy that I read it, and I think you should read it too. And tell me if you read this book, did you get any trans-coded stuff going on here? But beyond that, what is in here is bisexual representation in this book, our main character is bisexual, and I was telling you all about the gay porn and all of that type of stuff. So that is in there for Pride, but I think this book, you could go even deeper and use this book to interrogate how we view gender. That's the big thing. Instead of me saying transcoded, I think a more intellectual thing to say is this book makes you interrogate the way we classify gender and what traits we ascribe to which gender, and when people flip that on their head, how do we feel, you know? Anyways, that's that on that. I don't want to stay too long. We are moving on to All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson. I am going to say, just out of curiosity, I already read the first 50 pages of this, and it was so good. It was so good. Like, it's really late right now, you guys. It's 1 a.m. I usually don't read this late. I just need to go to bed and go to sleep. But I want to read 50 more pages of this. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And then I'll wake up in the morning and give you guys my initial thoughts on this. But the first 50 pages of this was really, really strong. Anyways, that's the last book, though. We are moving along. I finished my skincare, so I'm about to head to bed. Peace. Hello. Good morning. It is morning time. I'm drinking my coffee, and I sat down this morning and I read 100 pages of All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson. So I've officially made it to the halfway point of this book. I will finish this book later today. I plan on playing The Sims all day today. I'm not gonna lie to you. So this will have to be postponed till tonight. But anyways, I want to come and tell you my thoughts on this book because I'm really enjoying it. This book follows George M. Johnson. I am not aware of who George M. Johnson is. George M. Johnson has not told us anything about like his life in the current for me to know who George M. Johnson is. But basically, you are getting a story about George M. Johnson growing up in New Jersey and him coming of age with his queer identity, him figuring out what it means to move through this world as a gay Black man, and all of the stuff that he's gone through in his childhood that has made him who he is today. And also sprinkled in there is like some historical context. There's even some theory thrown in there, just some educational stuff in there, and that's pretty much what this book is about. So first, we're reading a memoir. So let's talk about the style of this memoir. So this memoir is told through like just personal anecdotes. And then through those personal anecdotes, George M. Johnson comes in as the writer and gives you kind of like his current thoughts on those moments. So he gives you his thoughts in those moments as he's telling you the story, like what he was thinking in that time. And then usually at the end, sometimes in between it, he will then give you like how this moment affects him in his current life. Sometimes he will break the fourth wall and like, you know, give you some tidbits, give you some information, give you, you know, a little nudge, little winks that are really, really good. But that's pretty much what how this book is, you know, framed. This book is written for a younger audience. I believe this book is written for people who are in middle school and high school. It's written so it can be enjoyed by those people. This is not a very, you know, high prose type of book intentionally. It's supposed to be able to appeal to a younger audience. And yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. I think this is really, really well done. Number one, it appealing to a younger audience. This is the type of book that a middle schooler can pick up and read and really learn a lot of stuff, and really, especially if they are queer, be able to see someone or read from someone who is exactly like them or who is like them, who could be having the same thoughts as them. Another thing I really enjoy about this is George M. Johnson is giving very specific stories to his childhood, but they're things that everyone can relate to in some sort of way. Like, you're able to take something away from it, even though your identity may not have been like his. And I just think that's really good for younger audiences. But for me, since I am not a young audience, what I love about this story is what this book is saying about identity and how your identity comes to be, and how we all are almost a collection not only of our trauma but also our triumphs, and all of that stuff sticks with you. As I'm getting older, I constantly reflect on my life, and I think about the things that happened in my childhood, not even just in my childhood, in my life, that have made me the type of person that I am, good and bad. And I love that when George M. Johnson is going through his childhood, he's talking about like the one thing that changed him. Like, this happened and then I was never the same. And I also love this idea of selected identity that George M. Johnson is speaking on. So there's a chapter that's really, really good. It's called F Words Play Football 2, I believe that's what it's called. And he's talking about how, like, throughout his entire, like, when he was in a certain grade, I think it's like third or fourth grade, whatever, he was constantly like being like, I'm not gonna play football, I'm not gonna play basketball, don't want to play baseball. But then he saw some girls double dutching and he was like, I want to double dutch. And so he was double dutching, he loved it. It was a way for him to be like every version of himself while he was double dutching. And then one day one of his friends came up to him and he's like, hey, the boys are talking about you, saying you might be gay because you play double dutch. And from that day on, he decided to play football with the guys. And he talks about how he enjoyed playing football. Like, football wasn't something that he like hated. Like, he not only was he good at it, he enjoyed it. And I just think, that juxtaposition right there about identity, how like oftentimes when people are talking about queer people, even in the frame of acceptance, people are like, oh, he should just have been able to play double dutch, right? There's this idea that like he should have been able to do all things. Like, we so quickly put people in these boxes, even trying to be progressive. We put people in these boxes and there's more fluidity to it. There's more like, hey, for example, I hate all things hypermasculine. I hate hypermasculinity. I hate the performance of hypermasculinity, but I love sports. I love watching football. I like watching basketball. Like, I love sports. I'm also a person who really, really enjoys being a part of like group activities. And oftentimes those things are associated with hypermasculinity, right? And I've constantly had this conversation with myself, like, how do I hate all things hypermasculine but fucking love football? I don't understand. Like, what is that? What is that thing that's going on in me? And then oftentimes I consider myself, do I consider myself girly? At times. Like, I love makeup, but at the exact same time, I don't really love dressing up. As you can see, I don't really love dressing up. Like, there's just different parts of my identity that I like get certain things out of. And I think what George M. Johnson is showing so well is that like we all have those things. Double dutch allowed for him, as he said in this book, to be his feminine side, which he always wanted to get out. He always wanted to be able to get out his feminine side, but he always felt like he had to put on a mask. So this was a moment of him like unmasking while he did double dutch. But the reason why he didn't play football is because he found it too rugged and too all of these other things. But if it wasn't that, he could enjoy it. But he was forced to play it out of protection, and that kind of almost took away the love from it. And I don't know, it's just this idea that like even in doing the masculine stuff when you're gay, you still have to hide parts of yourself. He talks about this, and I bring this up all the time, how we just are okay with the fact that like there's no football players in the National Football League that are openly gay. And it's like, what are the odds? Like, there's gotta be people who are gay and are just like either just not saying it or feel like they have to hide it. And what is that? Like, they enjoy doing something. They play a sport, they enjoy doing it, and they still have to mask inside of it. They're doing the thing that you are literally saying men should do. And still, while they're doing it, if they were to come out as gay, they still wouldn't be seen as man enough, right? So he's double dutching with these girls, but he also enjoys football. But somehow, because he enjoys double dutching, he's still not man enough to be like the guys who just play football. I don't know. I just thought it was so brilliant the way that he did it. This idea of identity and how none of it makes sense, and all of it is just weird. Like, identity is just simply so weird. Another thing that I find really emotional about this book, actually, because a lot of this book, the first half, he's a young child. It's just how quickly we stomp on the identities of young children. I think about it like little kids playing Mario, and the boy wants to be Princess Peach, and we just quickly tell them, you're supposed to be a guy in the game. And it's just like, it's a video game. Or like playing double dutch. Or he talks about how he used to like to say like honey child, like that. Like he used to hang out with the girls in class and he would go honey child, and then like it caught on in the classroom, and so boys and girls in the class started saying honey child. And then one of the parents got upset about it, told the teacher, and the teacher told him to stop saying it, told his mom to tell him to stop saying it. It's like how quickly we just stifle and we suffocate and snuff out the joy of being a child, the joy of having an identity. Like we're just like cops almost. Like we just like, you can't do this and you can't do that, and you should be doing this and you should be doing that, and boys are supposed to do this and girls are supposed to do, and it's just like, y'all don't see how insane y'all are? Like the parents who do this, the family who do this, y'all don't see how crazy y'all are and how you just reduce your children into nothingness. Anyways, I say that to say this. I am enjoying this a lot. This book has a lot of interesting things to say, and I also think it has a lot of educational stuff to say. There's a part in here where he talks about how when he was younger, Abraham Lincoln was like his idol because Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. And he then includes a bunch of quotes of Abraham Lincoln not actually supporting the end of slavery and stuff like that. And I just think that's so important for kids to read. I 100% understand why evangelical, conservative, right-wing pieces of shit decided to ban this book in so many schools, because this directly goes against the bullshit they spew. Anyways, I'm gonna finish this, and yeah, that'll be the end. Whoa, I feel like I haven't been with y'all long. That'll be the end of this vlog once I end this. Whoa, I ran through these 3 books. But yeah, we're on 5-star alert with this one. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace. Ignore my hair. I just woke up. This is how I sleep with my hair when I have an afro. Peace. Hello, you guys. I have finished All Boys Aren't Blue. And I'm going to go ahead and give this book 4.75 out of 5 stars. The only reason why it lost 0.25 is because I think the chronological order of when some of the events in this memoir is a little like, it's kind of hard to follow. Like, George would say certain things, and you would think that George already had this revelation because he said something earlier in the book, but it seems as if something happened at a different time, like it wasn't all the way in order, or maybe it was just confusing and I didn't get it. And so like that's the only thing I would take away from this. But overall, this was so damn good. And what I love the most about this, and this is like my favorite type of memoir, like often we think about celebrity memoirs, but my favorite type of memoir is actually like regular person who isn't a celebrity telling you about their life because something in their life happened that they think it would be worth telling to people or sharing with people. That's actually my favorite type of memoir, being dropped into someone's life who I have I know nothing about, and they just have an interesting life, or they think they have an interesting life. That's my favorite type of memoir, and that is what this is. Second thing I really like about this, we are getting the story of a gay man who actually wasn't very, what's the word, isolated in his queerness. George M. Johnson has a lot of queer people in his family. He was an alpha, and 4 people on his line were gay. He just had a lot of gay people growing up, and it was interesting to hear a story about a queer person who had queer people around them all the time, and how that experience is different than people who had no queer people around them, or so they knew. That was interesting. Like, for example, his cousin was trans, and like just getting stuff like that, which is interesting. We really just don't hear tales like that, and this was just a very unique story from what we usually get from, I think, queer memoirs or queer stories. And so I think the title being All Boys Aren't Blue was a really good title for this, and I just think this works all the way through. And like, to have this geared towards a younger audience, it is so important. I think young people should be reading this book. This works. You get some critical race theory in here. You learn some things, but it's also really personal and really raw. And I just think overall this fully works. I enjoyed this. I'm going to just go ahead and say it's 5 out of 5 stars because I enjoyed it. So we read 3 books in this vlog. We read Yerba Buena, which I sometimes call Nina Liqueur, but that's the author's name. We read Yerba Buena, Boy Parts, and All Boys Aren't Blue. Boy Parts is a horror novel about, I think, reclaiming your agency and wanting to have power in this world. I think also this book could be read as almost transcoded. This idea of not feeling like you belong in the body that you are in, or you don't fit the gender norms for people who are assigned your gender at birth. I just think this is really good, and a lot of conversations could be had with this. So I personally give this book 3.75 out of 5 stars. But if you're someone who really likes horror novels, and more, I would say, contemporary horror, you should really get into this. This book does. I think you would like this. I think this book has an audience that is not 100% me. And I think it's a actually really well done book. And then last one, Yerba Buena. I have nothing nice to say about this book. I found this book to be melodramatic, boring. I don't think it's written that well. I don't think it's paced that well. I don't think this book worked at all. Some other books that I read during Pride Month. I ended up reading It Came From the Closet, which is a bunch of essays written by queer people talking about horror novels that really help them come to terms with their sexual identity. And then for the Lily Reads Book Club, we read the 7-10 Split. I enjoyed this very much. This one had potential, didn't fully live up to it, but I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. Some essays in here I really think you guys should read is My Hands on the Glass by Bruce Owens Grimm, who talks about Hereditary and his marriage. We have Imprint by Joe Valesi, and it is about the movie Grace. Another one is Twin/Skin by Addie Tsai, and it's about the movie Dead Ringer. Then you have another one, Centered and Seen by Sumiko Salson. It is about Candyman. I thought that one was pretty solid. Blood Actually by Grant Sutton. It's about Friday the 13th, part 2. And then another one is The Trail of His Flames by Tucker Lieberman. It's about A Nightmare on Elm Street. And then my last favorite one, which is actually my favorite one of all of these. I think there's 25 essays. My favorite one is Bad Hombre by Sarah Fonseca, and it is about the movie Is That You? It's a Cuban movie. Yeah, those were my favorites, so if you ever care, but I read that this month. And yeah, that is that on that. I will talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.